Hello everybody, welcome to another day of coding adventure. Today we are going to do some particle effects for our new attack that we have programmed last time. We are also going to introduce a new sound effects. So what are we talking about right now is we have our character, which is going to be here in this game. This is a test level, so it doesn't matter, the level does not look pretty, it's for testing. And we have some placeholder effects that are going to be displayed when the character is attacking an enemy. So I have to wait a short second right now because the text editor is still booting up, still taking its time. Hopefully it will be able. I will be able to start soon, but actually Unity crashed, so that's a nice start. I would say be right back after I restart. Sorry, guys. Okay, we are back. I've just restarted Unity. Pretty annoying if Unity's keep crashing, because that would really have an impact on the stream quality and also the overall work cycle. Had 2 crashes yesterday, so I'm a little bit worried. I did not have crashes before, so maybe have just to pray to the Stack Overflow gods so that we can work on the project. And maybe I should look up if my PC is dusty. I've cleaned it a month ago, but I can imagine it's pretty hot today, that it has to do something with the heater. The PC is not doing its maximum power, but most likely it's a bug in Unity. So we have to live with this. Sometimes it's hard, and hopefully just update Unity and the next patch it might be fixed. Let's keep a look at the game. Hopefully it will play right now. It could also be that Unity did just crashed because I was opening the text editor at the same time and didn't like that. So what we have here is this attack. This is an attack which spawns 2 waycasts, and both will immediately hit at the path from the player to their destination, like this. You see, they can also affect the attack and then spawn another attack, which is a stronger variation of your normal attack. Okay. And right now, our problem is that the start of the attack is pretty much. And if I do it again, here. The start of the attack is here between the hands. It's not actually where your hand is extended. I will try to show this again. Now you can see the spawning point for the attack is here. Here. This is where the attack is spawning. And we need to move this spawn point to this position. This will be the spawn position. At the same time, we don't actually want the way which is casted to be from this position. We want to hit enemies from this position. And the reason is that the character has a special quick aim assist, which is aiming from this point on, and we have to recalculate the whole attack if we want to move it to the hands. So how do we do this? And what's the problem is the attack is cast from this point to this point right here, and we want to only move the visual effect from this point to this point, but have the real attack to be from this point to this point. Because the aiming system on the player character, and also show this maybe with the aim visualization, if I turn it on, here you can see this line. This is where the cast is going to be. See? On the other side, I think we should have the visual also to be on this point, because it would be pretty confusing if the player would not see his attack to be spawned along this line. Like now you see your attack is going to be along this line, and if it would not be along this line, the player would be pretty confused, like this line is lying to you. So we have to be on this line. So instead of having the spawn position to be at this point, we're going to extend to move the spawn point a little bit forward to this position, and then adjust the cast animation so that his hand he's extending his hand right now is not at the end point here, but at this point where the actual attack will be spawned. So first let's move this spawn position forward. So where's the attack spawned? It is spawned in the fire function. This is this function. And then we have to find skill 0 choice 2. This is the attack that we are modifying today. Here we are going to play the animation. Give the animation name to the animator, which will then immediately play the animation for the attack, which is working quite fine. And then far below, we are looking for which type of attack are we doing in this switch case. And then we check if it is skill choice 0 2. We're going to call this function here twice for the 2 times you spawn an attack. It's like whoosh 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 whoosh. So we call the same method twice, and this is so we don't have to copy the code that is going to these 3 lines of code, that we don't have to copy this code twice and then modify it. If you use the same lines of code twice, copy them, put them in a function, call them twice. Always more clean. Because if I now add this fire position and forget to do this in the modified version, in the second copied version, then I immediately have a bug, and it's pretty easy to just overlook it. So what we are going to do now is we want the fire position. This position, we want this same position, but instead of we want to spawn our attack at the new position. So let's modify the position. Introduce a new variable for this. Yeah, this is the new vector 2 spawned position. This will be a new vector 2. We're going to use the same Y position than the fire post position, but we are going to modify the X position. As I said, we are going to move this a little bit forward, so it's a little pretty much a little bit under his current hands. And so what are we going to do? We need to add certain number. We have to think about it. The character might be flipped. So it might be negative. Okay, so how do we do this? This variable here, fire post position X, is negative. We also want the addition to be negative. The variable that we add should be negative. So what we are going to do is just use this function map, and this sign function is actually going to be -1 or +1. This function will return -1 or +1, and we want to multiply this with the number that we want to add or extract. So let's first try 0.2. Actually we can just look up how much we need. If we open up the character model, and then move the fire position a little bit to the right. Let's do this. So we open up the character model here in the hierarchy. This is the character model. He is named Larry right now, but we are going to rename this in another session. This is going to be named player model. Don't name your character after your after his name. Actually, this was a pretty bad idea, and I'm not very happy that I carried through with this. But this is not what we are going to do today. Today we are going to find the bullet spawn. I think this is this one. I want to see actually where it is. Okay, and we move this forward like this. Okay. Now we just memorize how much did we move this. Okay, and this is not good because we move this forward along this line, and you see that the position changes its X and Y value. So we have a rotation right now, which is going to modify how the X and Y value change if we move this back and forth. Ooh. So we have to do some math. This will require my calculator. Getting ready a calculator right now. This is pretty hard math actually, because every time you do things with rotations, it gets pretty messy. So see what happens if we just add 2 to the X value. Going up. Okay, that's not good. What is going to happen if we just add that value here? Okay. Okay, we can just for a start just look if we can memorize the additional value change for the X and Y value, and then just apply it in the script and look if you don't have to do much more work, because it would be nice if you don't have to calculate this with the rotation right now. Because I think what he's picking is these 86.038 degrees, and we calculate this position according to this rotation. So it's not going to be easy to recalculate the position. Okay, let's try to memorize it. So if I put this forward, going from 1, 1, 5 to 2, 1, 1, 5 to 2, that's 007 value change, the X direction. So let's add this here in the script. Now we are going to also do the same thing for the Y value. And we see that the change is much more significant here, from minus 1.71 what was it? 1 minus 1.71 to 256. Really using the calculator right now because I tend to forget the two numbers. Okay, and this is change of 0.85. Okay, now let's try it out and see if the position is moved forward by the amount that we want, or if it is messed up when we turn around the character by aiming. Hey, I think I have not applied it from the script. Yeah. Okay, I have not applied this new spawn position. I have to apply the new spawn position. This in the script, my bad. We compile the script. And here we go. And this does not look good. So what is happening right now is he's taking I know what's happening. He's taking this world position. This is the world position. And then modifies it. Yes. Oh yeah, of course this is not working. Because this is a world position. And then he's modifying it a little bit in the X direction. And then in the he's going subtract a lot from the Y direction. This is why we did just see the position is now on the ground. So that's not what we want. What we want is the X and Y value and we have to go to the right, but we have to then calculate the rotation from your spine into that. How do we do this? Actually, I have done something similar, so we can just reuse some code. And you're going to use a new quaternion. Let's look it up. It's turned out to be much more complicated than I thought initially. We could also do this with sinus and cosinus, but I really would have to look it up straightforward. I don't have it in my head how to do the math right now, so I'm pretty much screwed right now. So I have a function here which is rotating a look direction, but it's not what we need. Not what we need. Yeah, but there's a similar function in the aim visualization, which is maybe going to help us out and save us some googling time. Because if I can't find it right now, I will have to look it up how to rotate it by a certain amount of degrees. Okay. This is a function for aiming right here. What is this doing? Is this is going to calculate how where you see your aiming point, your the line that you see where you're aiming at. And since the bullet spawn position is on that line, we can reuse this function to calculate another point along this line. However, I think there is a much cheaper and easier way. So let's just open this prefab of the character and save us some time by duplicating the bullet spawn and rename this to way spawn. Put it a little bit to the right, and now we can pretty much just forget about recalculating the point by hand. We now have the spawn position, which will be attached to the bone. It's attached to the bone one. When we change this value right here, the way spawn position is also going to change. So we don't need to do a lot of calculations. If we can just duplicate the this bullet spawn transform and put this new position into it. Also maybe a little bit more efficient than to calculate this inside the character script. So what are you going to do is we have now a new spawn position. And we have to find the old one. The old one was named Firepost. So let's see where the variable is defined. It's here. And introduce a new variable, which is going to be named way fire position. Okay. Now we can also see that this fire position right now is initialized the start function. So we are also going to initialize our new point here. Just named respawn. Okay, and finally we can go back to the fire function. Look up where we left. To the function which is going to instantiate our respawn. And now we can just use the respawn position to instantiate our HitScan attack. Actually not a real HitScan, it's a waycast. It's actually a waycast. A HitScan is normally you just scan for an enemy in front of you, and you are going to draw a line from you to the enemy and hit him immediately. That's a HitScan. This is because the player is doing the real aiming. It's not a HitScan, it's actually a waycast. So I think I screwed up a little bit because I named the animation HitScan Attack. We can change this. So let's go back to the character. The first thing we want to do is to change the name of the animation. We have a boolean right here. We renamed. And I also want to go into this blood magic layer, which is specifically called for attacks. And during an attack you can move back and forth. So during an attack the legs are actually controlled by a different layer than this layer. This layer controls the arms and the upper body. This is going to control our legs, so we can move back and forth or not move at all, or jump during our attack animation. So let's see. The prefab mode. Let's see if the attack is now spawned from a new position. Correctly. Yeah. Okay, this looks actually much better. Still, this is all a placeholder. The sound is a placeholder, and the particle effects. I think the particle effects are not visually standing out enough right now, so that if you move very fast, it's a little bit hard to see what you are doing. Yeah. Okay. So to now adjust the animation. HitScan Attack. Fairly easy. But to set up the prefab right there, what are we going to do? This is the animation which is playing when we do the hit scan. And right now you see his arm is extended to cast his hit scan, but we want to move this a little bit more down. So he's going now. He's doing it pretty nice. He's doing like this kind of push attack. We're going to It has to come from the bottom. It has to come from the bottom. So to visually still have a good casting animation. So lower the arm a little bit. Still have this pointing forward. And then lower the other arm, doing his second phase of the animation. Also point his arm forward. Yeah, the arms are matching in height. Sorry. Look up the whole animation. Okay, looks okay. I think that this does not look as imposing and strong as the old animation, but due to technical limitations, it might be better to do it like this. And let's try it out in game. I think it doesn't look good. In the animation, this is looking a little bit, or was a little bit too much upwards, pointing too much upwards. And in the second phase, I had the feeling like the arm is going back too slow. Like he is casting, but it would be nice if he would have some kind of feedback, like his hand is pushed back, like choo, choo. And right now he's casting and his hand is just after that slowly going back, and this is why the animation does not really look strong. We want it to look stronger. What I'm going to do is, we have here, this is final arm resting position, over here, and we are going to implement at the half point between the two animations new position for his arm position. Going to be his right hand. It's his right hand to be here. No, still not enough. Put this position a little bit further back. Oh, I did. Oh. I did not move this position because I was not recording. Bad. That's one of the worst things that can happen actually when recording an animation. Luckily we are in preview mode, but it's sometimes really irritating. And if you forget to set up this button right here, which is for recording your animation, you actually are setting up new positions and think you are doing it right, and you are doing nothing at all because it's not recording. Let's look it up. Position. This is position. I think I have not put them down yet. Then have at this point a new position for the arm. See how it looks. Kind of janky. still kind of janky. I don't like this that the arm is not pointing exactly forward. So let's fix this first. And now we are going to look into the game, how it does look while playing. And then maybe adjust it again. Sometimes it can really take a long time until you find the right animation. Especially since I'm not an animator, so can take a lot of time, which I actually would like to use for coding. Okay, I think the pushback can be a little bit better. The flip side, animating is a lot of fun. So I shouldn't complain too much about not using this time for coding, since actually it's pretty welcome that I can just work on the character so much. Okay, let's play the new animation. And now I think the kickback from the cast is too strong. Let's put it here. Okay. And we are going to hit play. I still have the feeling like we'd never see the second arm move forward. I had the feeling like we never saw this phase of the animation. Let's look at it again. Maybe I'm wrong. Just maybe. Okay, actually it's playing the second part. Yeah, it's playing it to the end. So I'm wrong. Actually playing the whole animation. I just could not see it because the tempo of the game. Maybe it will look better in the build game. The editor mode, it's usually a little bit the performance of the game is usually a little bit worse, especially in the animations. So just hope for the best right now. Okay, we have set up this animation and the spawn position has been moved forward. The spawn position, let me take a last look at the spawn position. If the spawn position is correct now, the start of the attack. Yeah, I think this is as good as it gets. So now actually can edit our prefab. Prefab, what is a prefab? The prefab is the game object that we are using to instantiate our attack. The whole information, like how the attack going to look like, is in this prefab. We look into player, projectiles, and here we have the HitScan Attack. Now this is actually not a real projectile, but so let's rename this folder, because this folder does its name is not correct. Rename it to attacks. On this text folder, the prefab for the HitScan Attack. This is at the start of your attack. Maybe have noticed this effect playing. Now we are going to edit this, because this is actually not what I want to play. This is a placeholder. Not a bad one. I like the flashing up. This from this game object. There's 2 particle system, one here. This is just for the white flash. And if I disable this, only a red flash. So let's edit this red flash right now. Red flash is pretty simple, I have to say. So we can first try out different particles for this. Oh, this looks like I don't actually know where I have saved this twinkle, but this looks pretty much what I had in mind. I have important in this examples for particle effects, so it might be out of this package. Metal spark. Oof. Maybe if I rotate this could look good. Also not using the color, why? Might be set up in the material, that this material does not use color that we are trying to set up in this field, start color field. And let's look up this material. What are you doing? Color mode multiply. This is too additive. No. Oh, it has emission. It's emission, I think. Yeah. So this material was emitting a light source. And would also, because I never used this in another prefab, would reuse this my purpose, maybe. And but I'm not 100% sure if I use this material in another prefab, so I'm just going to copy everything. Can I copy everything? Copy the material properties, yes. And paste. And it didn't. Articles, standard articles. Okay. And then instead of this orange color, we want to use for our character some kind of reddish color. So 0 green or blue. And emit some red light. That's how this looks. Not using the material. Let's rename this to it's Blood Magic HitScan. Material. Normally you don't Blood Magic HitScan, and the .mat will tell us that this is a material. And so that I don't have to hit play every time, I have to hit play every time, I will set this prefab to looping. Now you can see that the material is going to spawn itself indefinitely. introduce this new material. Now when we change this material right here, you see that the change is immediately carried over to our prefab. Okay. And I want to set this color to white and define the color here. Maybe a little bit orange in the middle. Dark orange. And strong red emission. So what is this emission? Emission is just to emit some light from this light source. And I also want this to be rotated. I'm going to rotate this and this is a flip. Now this is not going to do anything. By 90 degrees. So start rotation. 90. Okay. Now by pressing 2 here, the intensity of the light, I can also use a slider, just use a slider. The intensity of the light which is emitted is scaled up or down. But I still don't like it. I don't like it too much. Yeah, I think this is more in terms of the color that we want. This is more the color that we want. We could use white here. Let's set this up inside of this field. And I have an idea. Let's set this to a dark red color. We have also this flash effect. Have to stop looping. Look how these two effects are interacting with each other. Okay. Now I want to set this material to our blood magic material. It doesn't look, that doesn't look good. Looks like some weird crossing sign. Like, do not cross this. This does not look good. Try out maybe some different materials. But no. I think the emission of the light is just too strong. I have to reduce this emission. This light red color is actually not that nice, to be honest. Nope. Turn off emission. Now this actually does not look like a nice effect, sorry. Just say it was I tried, but you have to admit defeat when it comes. So I want to try something else. Let's try muzzleflash. I see this muzzleflash and I think that might be a good idea for a waycast attack. Have like a muzzleflash attached to it. So what is this? This is a sprite sheet actually with 4 sprites. Whipped inside, set up as a particle effect. So if I put this inside of this render, it's not going to work immediately like you actually want it to, because now it's spawning all four particle effects, which is not what we want actually. So let's look if this does interact with the texture sheet animation. Looks like a 2x2 sheet, and as you can see, we now have displayed a muzzleflash. Okay, remove the rotation and remove this additional flash effect that we have set up. Okay, and also since this is a muzzleflash, we don't need to set up the size over lifetime. This muzzleflash looks a little bit weird, to be honest. Don't know why though. But as I'm guessing is there's an emission map or something inside of this muzzleflash that is not used currently. This does not look correct. You can see there's some kind of green buggy area around this muzzleflash. See if we can find a better mode. Maybe transparent and use another color mode. No, this is not going to work. Additive. Okay, let's look at this. Much better. Now we want to have this in some kind of red tint. Ooh, that looks disgusting. And let's look what happens if we edit this. So if we're adding this, okay, now we can actually control what is displayed or not. Ooh, it's like a flame. The red emission is not looking nice because it's a little bit too bright. Can we have a darker color for the emission? Does not look like it. I think it looks a little bit like from a gun. And since I think it's set to some kind of multiplication, or is it subtraction? Yes, it's subtractive. This is why it's looking so weird. But all other color modes seem to be kind of janky. Oof. 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 Only thing that we can still try to do is to use the universal vending pipeline and then try out its unlit particle system. And look how it turns out. Bit of the space map. I'm a little bit irritating by this is looking good when we are setting the color mode to subtractive, because subtractive is normally not what you want to use as color mode for anything. Really just edge cases. I'm not sure if they intentionally want us to use subtractive, the guys who did this muzzleflash.
The targets must be eliminated before continuing.
It's also very weird that alpha clipping is not working at all. Alpha clipping is not working. Alpha clipping is supposed to cut out these rough edges right here. You see these edges? They're not looking too well. Just make it darker, it looks better. When we turn the base color to very bright, we have this really weird looking shape right here. This is a little bit disgusting. But now the color that I set up in the particle system is not seeming to be subtracted from the particle from just because I use the universal vending pipeline, which is really weird. Oh, I don't know what kind of information they have put into this map. This is really weird going on. There's nothing for near or close or far information. I should use distortion. Alpha clipping is not doing anything interesting. Since when does this work? So we want the base map to be actually very bright, so that we see white, white, middle, round. We want the edges actually to be really red, but we can't have a dark red because this is an emission. The emission is always going to be very, very bright. It's not like letting us choose any kind of darker color than normal red, because this is emitting light. Which would be fine, totally fine. Just don't like the end result. This is the red is looking too bright for my taste. We don't have good control over how it looks. So we change the how the emission gets up to the base map. I don't think so. These mounts don't work very well. We can at least use multiply. Multiply is a normal color mount that you want to use. Basically, if you multiply and have some weird color here, it's going to multiply with the rest of the prefab. We want to emit light, but we cannot use any kind of high intensity, because then the muzzle flash, the outer pixels of this will just look janky. This does not look good. So let's put it like this. Get down the intensity. Let's look what happens if we maximize the intensity. Just use a very soft red. And nothing really happens then. Yes. I use low intensity and a high red. Not going to do anything. Okay, let's try this muzzle flash, because trying to set up the middle as white did not end up in nice looking effects. So I would prefer this kind of effect over something that just doesn't seem to work. I don't like the last frame, which is round. So this is only displacing playing 3 whites now. Okay. Let's see how this looks in game. Okay. Problem is the effect is not being rotated to the same rotation as the spawn position. So what we need to do is just find out if it's a child of the spawn position. Instantiated inside of this function. And its rotation is set up to be default, which is so it does not have any rotation. Now we have to find the right rotation. My guess is that it's a bone rotation turned around by 90 degrees. So looks a little bit weird. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. Oh, and then, oh no, I think it's already turned around by 90 degrees. This muzzle flash is already pointing in this direction, so I just rotated it 90 degrees and then added the bone rotation on top, so it should now point down. Let's see if I'm right, in which direction the muzzle flash is now going to point. I think it's going to point down. Okay. It's not pointing into any direction. See if the prefab is set up so the rotation is not considered. And let's see if this maybe does not consider the rotation, own rotation. So put it here, set it to looping. Now let's rotate this. As you can see, I'm rotating this. Muzzle flash is not rotating. So we have to look up where we can set this to the transform rotation. Maybe the scaling mode? No, just scale. It's not the rotation. Oh, the change the render alignment, it seems to rotate. Okay, now we have control over the rotation. Okay, so set this to tie this to the actual prefab and look where we are pointing our muzzle flash at. Okay, very good. It's pointing down. So what we have to change here is and just put this to 0, 0, 0 and look if it's now pointing into the right direction. We actually can maybe remove this variable, this quaternion, later. Because if it's 0, 0, 0, we don't need it. Don't want to put it out of the code, because if I'm wrong now and it's pointing backwards, we still can edit the code pretty easily. Good. But what is this? Ah. Okay, now we have rotated the whole effect and its raycast direction, which is not what we want to do. We only want to rotate the effect. So the easiest way to do this is just to take this particle system, put it into this child object, name this particle, muzzle particles, and remove this particle effect. Now we only need to rotate this child. Okay? So instead of rotating the, oops, this actually, what am I doing? Ah, I see. I rotated the wrong place. Ooh. Now I have to look up if maybe I don't need to do anything of what I just said. Because if the direction is set in the script, just maybe I have programmed it to not consider its own rotation. Okay. Now we are back at the start. This animation is pointing down. It's kind of weird. So the effect looked a little bit too big. And so we can change the scale of the effect later. Actually, let's just put it in the game and play it now. Yeah, that looks a little bit too much. Turn down the scale. Think to maybe to 8. Yeah, I think that's the right scale. Add this to the prefab, and I'm going to disable this for now. We don't want to rotate the whole object anymore. We want to only rotate the first child of this game object. So what are we going? We are going to use the transform find function, find the child, the name that we have given to the child, and then set its rotation to this new rotation, which is for the muzzle flash. I've named it muzzle particles. Okay. Also seeing right now in my stream that I have not progressed my progress bar. A moment. Okay. Just a short change for my goal there, because I want to stream 100 times in English. Actually, from Germany and speak German, but I think it's so important to speak English. So I want to really have 100 times stream in English only, just to have some practice, and maybe, just maybe, I'm going to speak later English at my job, which is I'm a graduated computer scientist with a master degree, and I usually have some people who are not fluent in German, and then you speak English. And also just nice whenever you meet people who are not from Germany or who don't speak, who only speak English, and you have a nice way to communicate. This is why English is just so important for me. But nonetheless, let's look up what this particle effect looks like. Our new iteration of code. Okay, no rotation. Okay, let's look up what's happening here. First of all, I see that all these scan objects did not destroy themselves like they should, which we have to modify. And then I'm seeing that this muzzle flash is actually using the right Z coordinate. Maybe the when the alignment is not used, it's used. Local. This is odd. This is odd. Trying out some render alignments. Only local is the only one which seems to make sense, also from a logical standpoint. A little bit weird that this is 0. Let's have a rotation, yes. Us. So also this effect did have a rotation, so let's reverse what we did with the particle system here. With this object again, component again, and paste it back to the father to the parent object. Okay. Terminology right there. Right. And we can disable this effect. I want the scale of this to be a little bit more like 1.75 more. Where's the start size? 2. It's 2 to 3. Okay. I'm pretty sure that this particle effect looks like it's starting a little bit at the left. We have to adjust its position again. We can do this in the change shape component right here. We can just put a little bit to the right, and we can change its pivot point. Okay. This point. There we can position. This looks like starting point. Little less height. Okay, it looks centered. And the alignment is set to local. See what happens if I rotate this, as it looks good. I think we have to add 90 to the rotation. I think we have to add 90 to the rotation here. Look at this line of code which did set up the child, set up the parent. Whole game object. We want to rotate the whole game object. And now let's look what will actually happen. We are rotating it at all, or maybe not responding to the newest rotation. Okay. It's rotated, but not into the right direction. Now pointing down, so let's try 0 again. Also, I've set this prefab up to loop. I don't want to be looping. Yet it's still pointing down. Still pointing down. That's weird. It's still pointing down. I put -90 right now into this function. It also point down. Because I had 90, 0, and now with -90, it would mean that the rotation that I set up does not actually do anything. Yeah, it's pointing down again. It's unfortunate. Because that means that we have to find a method just to rotate our sprite effect here, this muzzleflash, into the right direction. Which is quite annoying. This is the wrong effect. This is the right effect. And it looks like if I rotate this, the whole muzzleflash is actually rotated. What is going on here? Could be that this quaternion multiplication quaternion is not doing anything at all. Okay, let's just Google how to rotate a quaternion by 90 degrees then, because it looks like I'm doing it wrong. There's only one way to find out. This is Google, the best skill for a computer scientist. Yeah. For Unity specific answers. And if you see this code, he's rotating the y-axis epsilon axis. Looks pretty much like what we are doing right now. So we are doing it right. Yeah, again, the same code. I think this code might be copied from this answer. Let's look up again. Look it up for 2D. They are all doing the same thing as we do. To rotate 90 degrees. Let's just play the game one last time with different rotations for the HitScan muzzleflash. Look, if the game object of the muzzleflash has a different rotation. So first I'm always going to point forward. Now I'm going to look at the instantiated effect, which is destroyed already. Okay, try again. Okay, we have now set this to 89 degrees. And we would like to set this to 0.3 degrees. I think it's no, it's not the same rotation as a spine. Interesting. Whatever, that's not important. Now we are going to rotate by 0. Let's look in which direction the muzzle flash will point. It's also pointing down. The rotation. Oh, what did they do? The X rotation set up to minus 180. Oh dear. Oh dear. Here we have this Tannian bone rotation. This may be going to be useful. Let's try it out. It's not really not used. Local variable only used in this function, so we can't use it outside. Aside from that, it's just a copy of current aim direction. So let's just insert current aim direction inside of this instantiate function. And look if the multiplication by 0 maybe did something funny to the aim direction. I'm guessing no, I don't think that it will be the case, but let's just see what happens. And as we can see, nothing happened. The rotation x is minus 180. It's not nice at all. I don't want this rotation. Maybe I can just copy the bone 1 rotation. Muzzleflash. The weird thing to the rotation. Looking into the script, if this rotation is maybe that in the script. Yes, it is. Ah, okay, no wonder, no wonder. This makes sense. Okay, so whatever we do, the script is going to set its rotation in this function. So what we were doing was pretty much pointless, because the script is just going to overwrite it. Oh, let's this up. It's looking into the direction which is given to the script, and it's rotated by 180 degrees. I think it's normally it would be pointing up instead of down. We have to rotate it 90 degrees instead of 180. Okay. We can later remove this function, because this projectile here, which actually in this case is not a projectile but a hit scan, setting up itself. And what do we have here? Nice particle effect. Too big though. It has to destroy itself faster. Then we are done. So let's set the duration to, or is it the lifetime? Lifetime. Change the lifetime of this particle. Really dying fast. And set the size to 2. Also, we can now remove this line and just use the not initialize the rotation, just use standard rotation, which is 0, 0, 0, because we don't need this. It's done in the script of the HitScan Attack. We don't need it to set up anywhere else. It looks weird that the particle effect is not moving with the character. Hey! So what we are going to do is we will create a new prefab just for the particle effect. Okay? And then attach this particle effect to the hand. Okay, it's easier said than done. So let's create a new prefab. First, we need a game object, which is named Blood Magic Hit. Then muzzle flash. Okay. So this is going to hold our particle effect. I'm going to copy it from the prefab just to be sure. Copy it. Paste it into this game object. And then make a new prefab. Already done with this. think it's a little bit bigger. The effect that we used before. Okay, so let's change the start size. Then in this prefab of the old effect, we actually don't want to have this particle muzzle effect. Move it. This now only has the scripts, and actually this has a script for a sound, which I am going to remove. The spawn of this attack is not supposed to make a sound anymore, because you will immediately hear a hit or miss effect. This hear or miss effect, those two prefab have different particle effects and different sounds attached to them, so we don't need to hear a spawn sound at the same time. We can immediately just hear the hit or miss effect. This will be enough in this case for the player. Okay, now let's instantiate this new game object that we have created. First, we need to give it to our player character, who has some public game objects here in his projectile line. These are the game objects that you can instantiate. Is the blood magic prefab for the damage and effects, and underneath that are just effects. Here we are going to create a new variable named HitScan blood magic muzzleflash. Look where we instantiate this object, because we can also instantiate now the muzzleflash. Don't need to save this up. It's immediately instantiate it, and we want it to be a child of our fire position. Now this effect is attached to the fire position. Now we want to set up the rotation right. Now, how is the rotation checked up? Rotation set up correctly? I don't know, but I have once known this inside of this set rotation function. Now, the script of the HitScan is not going to set up the rotation of muzzleflash anymore. Is it? Let's create a field for the muzzleflash here, and tell the HitScan script to rotate the effect, muzzleflash effect. Why don't I want to set the rotation in the character here? Could just set with the rotation here. But there's a catch. I will set up the variables for the blood magic projectile, and if I for some reason want to later change the code and give this another direction, I would also have to remember this line of code, this parameter, which is going to set up the rotation, and change it. And I don't want this. This is a trap where I could forget what I did and set up the direction in one line of code and forget it in another line of code. I want it to be I want to have a dependency. Okay. now I do the same thing I did with this game object with the muzzle flash. Set up the muzzle flash from the main character. Okay, and now I'm done. Oh, now I'm done. Now I'm done. This should set up the muzzle flash immediately. Okay, that's an error. Yeah, we did not set up the public field of the main character. To give the main character a reference to the muzzle flash. And now it should immediately work. It looks for an audio source. That's weird. Yeah, I see that there are some warnings in the console that I can easily fix. Some unnecessary canvas vendors, which were needed for a text component, which was attached to then. Okay. Maybe fix them? I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Okay, I fixed these warnings. These yellow marks here. These not quotation marks. This is called. These yellow exclamation marks are the warnings, and always want to remove these warnings. Now we are going to try to find why the hit function did try to play a sound. It was a little bit odd. No miss sound was not checked. This here. This box. I also want to save if we crash again. And now it should work perfectly. It works, but the character is looking at the left direction. Muzzle flash is not pointing into the right direction. So, what are we going to do? I don't know. we have to specifically rotate this by 90 degrees, or I think minus 90 degrees, depending if whether the character is looking left or right. So let's first introduce a new float variable. Float that Z rotation. And this will be 90 by default. And if the player character, do we have a reference? No, actually. But we can easily set up a reference to the player character. And use the player character. Can we read if he's flipped? No, not read it. We can read his rotation. Well, let's see what actually happens if he flips. Oh. Flip function. What? The user controls. Wait, vector. This is the user. This is the vector. The flip function is going to multiply the local scale by -1. So this local scale is negative on whatever x, y, x, y, or z Then the Z rotation set to -9. Let's try this out. And Unity decided to crash. Nice. Okay, I would say this is a good point to say goodbye. I'm going to try this out. I'm pretty sure that we are finished with the muzzle flash for today. And next we are going to set up all the placeholders along the path of the raycast and the hit effects. And additionally to that, we also have to make new sounds for hit or miss, which is going to be pretty exciting. And I'm going to stream tomorrow and also on Friday. And I will have a little bit more time, so I'm probably going to stream for 6 hours or something. Today I only streamed 2 hours, and I'm really sorry that I could not do too much today. Because, yeah, Unity has stopped working. So accidents happen. Sometimes you just sit around for hours and do the smallest things. This is just normal programming. So see you around. Have a nice day. Bye.